Lieutenant Kessa's fur bristled with barely contained rage as she watched the human approach the training grounds. The Valerian warrior had spent 3 months drilling these cubs, children of the elite guard, in the ancient combat techniques of her people. 3 months of discipline, hierarchy, and the sacred order of the pack. And now this soft-skinned diplomat was here to observe. Emma Rodriguez didn't notice the hostility radiating from the training master. She was too busy taking in the sight of the Valerian cubs, 30 of them, arranged in perfect formation, their young faces serious beneath their downy fur. They couldn't have been more than 7 years old in human terms, but they stood like soldiers, claws extended, ready for inspection. The human ambassador will observe silently, Kessa announced to her students, her translator making her growl sound almost civil. You will ignore her presence. You will maintain discipline. You will honor the pack. 30 young voices barked in unison. Yes, training master. Emma found a spot along the wall, datapad in hand. She was here to document Valerian child-rearing practices for the cultural exchange program. Nothing more. She'd been warned that Valorians took their military traditions seriously, that their cubs began warrior training almost from birth. The session began with intimidating precision. The cubs moved through combat forms, their movements sharp despite their age. Kessa barked corrections, her voice harsh. When one cub stumbled, she struck the ground beside him with her training staff, making him flinch. Emma's jaw tightened, but she remained silent. Different culture, she reminded herself. Not your place to judge. Then she saw it, the smallest cub in the back row. His movements were slower than the others, his stance uncertain. And his fur, something was wrong. Even Emma could see the dullness of it, the way he held one arm closer to his body. Kessa saw it too. Ricker, your form is pathetic. Again, the small cub tried, stumbled, fell. The other cubs maintained their positions, eyes forward, ignoring their fallen packmate as they'd been trained. Pack discipline meant no weakness, no coddling. Emma's datapad clattered to the floor. She was across the training ground before she consciously decided to move, dropping to her knees beside the fallen cub. Hey, sweetie, are you okay? 30 cubs broke formation, their eyes wide with shock. Kessa's roar shook the rafters. Human, you dare. But Emma wasn't listening. She'd already seen the fever-bright eyes, the labored breathing. He's sick, she said sharply, her hand gently checking the cub's forehead. He needs medical attention, not combat drills. That's what happened. 3 cubs broke ranks and rushed toward Emma. Then 5 more. Then a dozen. Within seconds, the entire formation had dissolved, cubs clustering around the human, their young voices chattering with concern for their fallen packmate. Ricker wouldn't say he was hurt. Training master said showing weakness dishonors the pack. Is he going to be okay? Emma found herself surrounded by worried children, their military discipline forgotten. She kept one hand on the sick cub while fielding questions from the others, her voice calm and reassuring in a way that transcended species. Kessa stood frozen, watching her carefully constructed order collapse. In Valerian tradition, a warrior who broke formation was disgraced. A training master who lost control of her pack was shamed. Yet as she watched the human gather her cubs around her, checking on the sick one while comforting the others, something shifted in her understanding. The cubs weren't clustering out of chaos. They were clustering out of care, something her people had trained out of them in the name of strength. You've made them weak, Kessa said, but her voice laughed. Emma looked up, the sick cub, now cradled in her arms, a dozen others pressed close. No, she said quietly. I've reminded them they're children. Strong warriors are forged from those who've been protected when vulnerable, not from those who've been punished for it. One of the older cubs, a female named Tessa, who was top of her class, spoke up. The human is right, training master. Ricker told me yesterday he felt ill, but he feared your disapproval more than his sickness. That is not strength. That is terror. Kessa's ears flattened against her skull. Around a training ground, other instructors had gathered, watching. This moment would define her career, possibly her life. She made her decision. Medical team to training